Okay, we in here. We in here. All right. All right. Welcome everyone to the Rookie Reset. And you may be saying to yourself, what the heck is a Rookie Reset? Well, folks, it would be Sunday nights, just like an evening like this, except I would be stressed the heck out because I could not manage my classroom. And quite frankly, I could not figure out this whole teaching thing. So, what I hoped is to have these rookie resets to provide practical tools, tips, and strategies for new teachers. Now, you may be wondering, who the heck am I? My name is Andrea Fitzgerald. I'm an author, a speaker, an educator. You see the book behind you, but I'm an author, speaker, and educator that's just really committed to helping new teachers stay in the game by providing practical tools, tips, and strategies. That's what it's all about for me. Because I remember when I was a first year teacher, they gave me the Harry Wong book and it was cool, but I was like, listen, I'm on the struggle bus and I just need some practical things that I can do to survive in teaching. So that's what this is all about. So if you know a new teacher, please tell them to come join. Or even if you're a leader, you're like, how do I best support my teacher? Please come along. So so each week I'll be hosting a Rookie Reset to provide just some practical tools and tips for you. So today we're going to talk about how to be instructionally fit. So as I was thinking about this idea, I thought about my time as a basketball player. So when I first signed my national letter of intent, they sent us this thick green notebook, and basically in this notebook they gave us workouts and all the things that they told us that we were going to be prepared for when we came back to school for conditioning. So it was running, it was workouts, it was all kinds of things. And so I did everything in that book. I'm talking about everything. They said work out 2 days a day. I did it. They said run on the football field. I did it. The track, everything, lifted weights, all of it. And yet still when I got to campus, I did not feel ready. I mean, it was so intense. The people were stronger. I mean, the workouts were longer. They were harder. And even though I had played basketball since I was 5 years old, there was nothing that could have prepared me for that first year because it was just a lot more challenging. And so when I think about that experience, it reminds me of my first year as a classroom teacher too, because I did all the things. I went to school, they told me about how to write a lesson plan, they told me about all these other things. I learned my content, but yet even still, I did not feel ready. That's the hints, the rookies playbook, all of that stuff. I was stressed out a lot of the time. And so it felt like it just wasn't enough. And so even though I read the books, I did all things, I just still felt like I wasn't prepared. So it was just a lot of things that I did not know about teaching. And so today we're going to talk about how to be instructionally fit, because my lens of how to approach teaching is through the lens of fitness. Like I said, I'm a former athlete. So that's how I kind of think about it, because in order for us to be fit, there are 3 components that are involved in that, right? We have to exercise consistently. We have to put the right foods in our body. And we also have to have the right mindset to say, like, listen, this is what I'm going to do to work out. And so it's my belief that teaching is analogous to fitness. Because like I said, the only thing that I thought I had to do when I was a teacher, I was like, oh my gosh, I just got to open the book and teach the people. That's it. All it is. And I thought it was going to be easy. It wasn't. And so, like I said, I think teaching is analogous to fitness, except my idea is that exercise to me is the tactical parts of teaching. What's your classroom management plan? I like to call it your run of show. Like how are we gonna time that thing out? You know, the other thing is like the assessment and the data. How do I respond to that? Like having a data plan, you know, seeing how your students perform on assessments and how do you respond to that? Also the procedures and structures and routines. So this to me is like the conditions are being set so kids can actually learn, right? And then how do I respond to that? So that to me, the exercise are those tactical, technical things of teaching, which, like I said, I didn't know any of that stuff. You know, I said, hey, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna open my book, that's it. So you have that, that's your exercise. The other thing is the diet. So the diet to me is analogous to instruction. So we can talk systems, we can talk relationships, but at the end of the day, my friend, we still got to be able to teach. You got to be able to teach. Like I had a conversation with one of my former mentors today about that. I was like, you know, teach that's the thing, instruction, you know. And so that to me is analogous to diet, because regardless, you know, a few years ago I was addicted to the best trap house there is, Starbucks. You know, sometimes you can't even believe, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm in the line, like here we are again, right? But I worked out consistently, I really did. But my pot belly wouldn't go down because I love Starbucks. And so because I wasn't eating properly. And the research says that 60% of our health is contributed to our diet and the foods that we put in our body. And so I think teaching is the same way. A few years, well, actually, when I first became a math coach, I would go into these schools and I would say, oh, this is, you do this, you do that, because at our school, like, we had performed very well. So I was recommending all these different strategies to do as far as data. You know, you gotta, you know, your due now has to be aligned to the end of your test and all these different things. But I wasn't getting the results, and I kept wondering myself. I said, why is this not working? Like, why is this not working? It all came down to solid teaching and learning every single day, because you can do all the data work, and that's what I see people do. It's testing time now, so it's like, oh my gosh, you gotta go data, da, da, da. But at the end of the day, it comes down to great instruction. That is the name of the game, because at the end of the day, you still gotta be able to teach. That's the diet right there. You want to get that thing right. And so when we talk about instruction, we're talking about your content expertise, like understanding the standards and what does that actually mean in terms of my pedagogy and what are the moves that I make, but they also like your instructional frameworks, right? So I know my first year, my do now, I had a lot of do forevers because I didn't understand that, you know, like just some of the moves you make, you don't have to spend forever on your do now. And the model I use in terms of instructional framework, since we're talking about diets, is what I call the sandwich model. You know, how do you plan a solid lesson? But you want to be solid there in terms of instruction. And the last piece is the mindset stuff. So this is, you know, this is the human part of teaching. This is the building relationships, the classroom culture, being able to deal with parents. And I think the other one that is also very important is your self-awareness. Like, are you reflective? Do you know yourself? I think this one is so important. It's definitely been times, I know when I first started doing consulting, that I would go in classrooms and I would say, dang, you know, because we use the tool, the IPG. And it's like, this is what great math instruction looks like, right? But sometimes I would go in and I say, hey, the answer is not on the IPG. This literally comes down to relationships. This is, the students think you don't like them. They're not going to learn from you. You know, so it's those type of things. Like, are you able to connect with your students? Do you really see them? I think that part is a part that I think that was probably the most challenging for me as the new teacher, but it is imperative. It is a game changer. The other part of that I want to add is, in addition to building relationships, is being self-aware. The research says that if students do not feel safe from us, they cannot learn. And one of the ways that students feel safe is if they know that we're genuine and authentic. And I remember my first year that I often would, my first year, like I really wasn't clear on who I was, you know. So the people told me, they was like, oh my gosh, you can't smile at the kids, you can't do this, you can't do it. And so that's what I did. I tried to be somebody that I really wasn't, you know? And even if you think about now for yourself, somebody who you really, really feel safe with, it's because you trust them. You know that they have your best interest at heart. And so, you know, one of the best ways to do that is by being yourself. You know, you're gonna try different things out as a new teacher. You know, you're gonna test out different things, but essentially this is just about you being you and really understanding what your strengths are as a new teacher. And just as a person in general, like I often tell the story about when I first became a teacher, or not even, maybe like a few years in, I saw my brother, he was using these little notebooks. And I mean, you had to be so organized to do it. But if anyone has ever seen my desk and work with me, listen, I mean, I forget things all the time. I'm not the most organized person. And so I tried to be like him and try to do it. It was a whole disaster out here. Like I ended up having to tell them kids, I was like, you know what, we're not doing no book. Just get a binder. But I wasn't leveraging my strengths. Now I started using technology because it helped me manage paperwork better. But it's like knowing who you are. Because I can tell you trying to be hard and all those other things, you know, they tell you those things, but that it doesn't actually work. It's really just about you being you, and people can feel that. So one of the best ways to do that is really get clear on who you are. But the other part is being reflective, like being reflective. They say that, I think I read in a book somewhere, that teachers who are reflective, they make 35% more money. They move up the ladder a lot quicker because they're willing to be reflective, take feedback from other people. So it's like that human side of the work. And then also like classroom culture, I often say that culture and relationships are the heartbeat of your classroom. It literally sets the foundation for everything. It's like, you know, it's like our heart is like the size of a fist, but it's the most powerful muscle in our body. And same thing I think reads true for culture and relationships in your class. It sets the stage for learning to take place. So thank you all so much for tuning in today. Just to recap, today we talked about how to get instructionally fit. So just some of those different components of teaching that you may not even be aware of, you know. So the exercise, we talked about the data, the assessment plan. How do we run the tactical and technical things of teaching? What are your structures, your routines, your policies, procedures, that part? It's got to be there. Also the diet. This is just great teaching. This is instruction. 60%. It a lot of times, I know a lot of my engagement issues I had my first couple of years was just having a great lesson plan, being prepared, some of those things. And then the mindset, that's the human stuff. How do you set the culture and relationship? How are you bringing your full authentic self to the space? How are you able to build relationships? So those components can really support you in the classroom as a new teacher. So again, thank you all for tuning in. If you want to learn more, we are going to be back each week with practical tools, tips to help you stay in the game. Go to mentalfitness.com if you want to learn more. Or if you're a new teacher and you're like, you know what, Fitz, I'm on the struggle bus right now. I got a free training for you. Go to bit.ly/reset your class for a free video on how to get your class back on track real quick, fast, and a hurry. So get out there this week, new teachers, rookie teachers, get out there and get instructionally fit. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll talk soon. And I'm out.